Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're doing something a little bit different today. I'm talking to my lovely spouse about our first snowbird, or I guess it's our first year full-time traveling in the RV. So let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back. If it's your first time at the channel, it's great to see you. If you're returning to see some more content, it's great to see you again too. Today we're talking to my wife about our first year of full-time RVing. I can honestly say that myself, I had a vision, I had expectations of what full-timing was going to be. And they may not have lined up with maybe what her expectation of full-time was going to be. So I've just got a few questions for her and to get her perspective on things, which I think will answer probably a few questions that you or your spouse have about the upcoming idea of full-timing, or just even traveling with your spouse in an RV for an extended period of time. So anyways, this is my wife, Sheri. Thanks for coming on the show with me. It's
my pleasure.
Yeah, it's your first time on here.
Yes.
Yeah, the first time ever. Yeah, that's right. So I thought this would be kind of a neat thing to do, because honestly, the questions that I get from the guys, are not the same questions that she gets, from the wives or ladies or whatever. So we'll see if we can get some open truth on this. And I told her, I said, don't sugarcoat it. Don't destroy me, but don't don't sugarcoat it. And let's just put it all out there. So I think the first one, the first big question for this is, did you really think that we could do this?
I think I believed that we could do this even before you did. And there was a lot of planning that went into it. Like, when we first started thinking about this, we were still in our early 40s. Yeah. And, we were brought up in the generation where you work, till you're 65 and then retire.
Yeah.
And we were watching, all these YouTubers doing all this wonderful traveling that we so wanted to do, but just didn't have the money. Of course, at the time, we had a huge house. Wow. And our kids were still at home. Yep. And so it did take some years to get to the point where we could do this, but I was like, yeah, we can do this. We just have to plan for it. We have to start, paying off all of our debt to start with. We need to stop buying things that we don't need and that we won't use on the road. And, things like that. We have to get ready to sell our house. So we need to do any renovations or anything that's going to make our house, more profitable for us. So I think I thought we could do it long before you were convinced we could do it. But I knew it was going to take some time and some effort, some planning, and some deliberate actions to make it to a place where we could.
Yeah, because I actually remember that, and it's so funny that I remember certain things very clearly, but I remember this so clearly. We're big Nomadic Fanatic fans. We've been following Nomadic Fanatic Eric for years and years and years, and back when he was in I think he was in an old beat up Class C at the very beginning, and we've been following him since then. And I remember we were watching one of his videos whatever night, and all of a sudden I remember she goes, that would be kind of interesting to do something like that. And I kind of I hit pause and I went, don't toy with me, woman. Are you being serious right now? Because I had been thinking about it for so long, but not to the point where I'm like, I need to have a serious conversation about it. And then when she said that'd be a really neat thing to do maybe. And I was like, wow. So then, she's like, well, why can't we? What would prevent us from doing it? And then the conversation started, the research started, and then it evolved. It evolved to what it is. So yeah, definitely I think she was more excited about it than I was at the beginning, for sure.
Well, and at the beginning too, you were more excited about sailboating. Yes. And we had often thought about that too, and traveling by sailboat. Yeah. And I just wasn't comfortable with that. I haven't been on a sailboat a lot, but the storms and things that you can run into at sea and just have nowhere to go, just wasn't in my comfort level. Whereas an RV where you can park somewhere and you're on solid ground was something that I could get into.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because I think I had a point in time where I forgot that I wasn't 20, and I was like, let's do the sailboat thing. And then, I watched sailboat YouTube videos, and a lot of them are interesting and entertaining. But the reality of what's involved definitely was beyond what I was willing to hoist on, I guess would be a way to put it. But anyway, okay, so another question I had, I guess this will be different for everybody, but I guess I'll just put it out there, and I'm throwing myself. I'm not throwing myself under the bus. I'm just putting it out there, and it's what part of traveling do you believe is the most difficult part with a spouse? And I'm just going to break that into two parts. Whereas, traveling on the travel days or traveling and being at a park, what parts of both of those topics is difficult with a spouse?
Well, I think if you go on a long drive with your spouse, you'll kind of get to see everybody drives a little bit differently. Some are aggressive, some are super cautious, and you need to find the comfort in between that. And if you don't get along in the car when you're driving to the supermarket, then this is not the life for you.
Totally agree.
And driving with a truck and an RV just amplifies that so much more, because now you're not just driving, your little Ford Fusion. You have a huge truck, you have a huge trailer, and you're on the road with a lot of different types of drivers, and they will, sometimes obey laws and sometimes not obey laws, and you have to be prepared for that. So I would say the most difficult thing for me traveling with Dave has just been to kind of trust him even more. So I've been in a lot of vehicle accidents, so I'm a nervous passenger as it is, and I always felt safe with him. But now that was compounded by now the vehicle that we're driving is a lot bigger, and we're hauling not just a camper, but this is our house with everything we own in it. And then you're driving on roads that you're not familiar with. You're going to destinations you've never been to. There's roads and laws that are different. And so, my nervousness went up, and so did his as the driver of this vehicle, now responsible for everything we own in life. So it changes the game entirely, and you have to be ready for that. And I would say that, Dave says that driving days are work days, and they really are. So that's probably the biggest hurdle that we had when we first started traveling full-time with our RV.
Yep. No, I absolutely agree with that. Travel days are the work days. But to get away from the negative, let's get into the positive. What makes traveling with your spouse so pleasurable?
Well, it's so awesome to be.
Disposition.
It's so awesome to be able to go to all these new places and see these new things, and to be able to experience it with the person that you love just makes it so much more pleasurable and memorable. Like, I think of things like when we went to the Grand Canyon, or we went to, we drove on the racetrack when we went to Bristol, Tennessee, and just all the wonderful things that we got to do and see, and I got them to do them with you.
Nice. Yeah, that's some sugarcoating for my my ego. I appreciate that though, but yeah, I think the experiences, the sights, the sounds, the things we learned, the people we've met, the stuff we've seen, just outweigh the stresses of the travel day after the travel day is done. In the travel day, that's a work day. I mean, you can check out one of the videos about one of the videos I did about the travel day tips and tricks. That's definitely stuff to look at. But yeah, I mean, when the travel day is over, that's when the experience comes in. That's where the fun is. So, another question so this is our first trip now, not over the 4 years, but our first trip. How many states did we go to on our first trip?
We went to 19 different states.
Yeah.
Most of these we'd never been to before. All have their own kind of, different laws and road signs and, their own accents almost. And the quality of the car parks or pull-offs.
Oh, yeah. The rest stops, the different rest stops.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
some are amazing, and some are like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
There was one we didn't get out of the car.
There's ones that almost look like resorts, like in New York State. Like some of them, look like these grandiose, beautiful wilderness retreats almost. And then you get to like New Mexico, and they're almost non-existent. Like we didn't find any rest stops there other than some gravel pull-offs with no garbage or washrooms or anything. So so the things from state to state definitely varied hugely, and because we went to 19, we saw a lot of differences.
Yeah that was a long trip, and we did that in the 6 months. Like we went, I think we ended up doing a total of, it was 14,000 kilometers total in the 6 months. So we covered a lot of ground, saw a lot of cool stuff, but yeah, there definitely is differences. Okay, first year trip, because we went East Coast, like we went south to Florida, and then we went west to California, and then back. So we did like I would call the Southern L route, I guess. First trip, the whole L. Favorite campground. I have mine. I'm not going to say it though.
I think we both really, really liked Candy Hill in Virginia. Yeah. It's a beautiful park. It's so well maintained. They have a full staff there who will bend over backwards to help you with anything. They will bring propane to your site. Yeah. They will bring groceries to your site. And they have great activities there. They have a whole like arcade or games room.
Yeah, they have a lot of stuff like for adults and family, I think. Like there was decent. There were like sometimes you go to a campground where it's very family and kids focused, and you have ones that are like very adult focused and nothing for the kids. This is kind of like it's very in the middle, and that's what we kind of liked about it because we weren't looking for a resort, but we were looking for some place that like just reminded us of like the campgrounds we went to when we were younger. So it was kind of like that mix of both, and I liked it. Actually, I'll put a link to them in the comment section if you want to click on. You can take a look at them for sure. But it was a good place.
They also we have 2 small dogs, and they have a dog park, so we really liked that. We really liked its closeness to gas stations and department stores. Like there's a Walmart that's not too far away, and plus there was lots of sites that we could stop and see there while we were there.
Big history area.
Yeah,
Civil War stuff.
Yes, the Civil War and stuff like that. There's a lot of battlegrounds around that area that we went to see while we were there. So it wasn't just the campground was great, but it was also the surrounding area had everything that we were looking for and everything that we needed.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And they even have a chicken coop.
Yeah,
You can get fresh eggs.
Yeah, you get fresh eggs each day. That was interesting. I had never seen that before. So that was, Sheri came back to the trailer and said, "You got to come and see the chickens." And I went, "Why do you have chickens?" But then, yeah, okay. Then I went and saw the chicken coop and got the whole thing. But I guess so. I think my last question then, and we'll just see if it lines up. What was the most memorable place that we visited in that first year? Like actual place.
To me, it's got to be the Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand depth until you've seen the depth of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, we only went to part of it. There's a South Rim, there's a North Rim, and there's a bunch of places in between. We just went to the South Rim, and it is actually really cold there because the elevation is so high that we woke up the morning to go to the Grand Canyon, and we had about a foot of snow on our RV.
In the campground. Yeah, I'm gonna try to. I'll try to find some pictures. I don't know if I do, but if I do have some pictures, I'll put them up, there and there. But anyway, yeah, it was impressive, and when you're standing on the edge of that thing, and I'm not gonna lie, I'll tell a little funny thing that I did, and it was funny. I thought it was funny in my head, but it didn't come across funny. But we were standing at the edge, and we were looking around, and I said, you know what? Geez, I thought this would be bigger. Right? People around us, some of them thought it was funny. Other people didn't. But when you're standing looking at that expanse and you're just blown away, you're just like, I know the cheesy expression was, I was in awe. But you are. Like, when you're standing and seeing something like that, you're just in awe. And to me, that was probably the coolest site that we saw as an individual site. And the way it's set up too, like the way the parks, I don't know if it's called the Parks Authority, but the Parks Commission or whatever they're called, they run an amazing layout in there. And they everything's, it's simple to get in there. There's lots of places to park. It's a very well-maintained place. And it was impressive. It was, out of all the places we had seen on that trip, that definitely for me was the biggest. Like, was the biggest. it was the most memorable, I guess. As a bucket list, as a like a check in the box. Like, I went to the Grand Canyon. It's like going to the Hoover Dam. Check, went to it. So yeah, definitely Grand Canyon was my favorite for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
There simply are no words to describe the difference in topographical elevation than that. Yeah. Just seeing it is amazing. They have fence around most of it, so you don't have to worry about falling over, but still it's a little bit nerve-wracking in some places. Yeah. We were able to see other people who, there's a spot where you can go where there is no fence. We kind of thought they were crazy, but...
Big pass on that, big pass.
Yeah, but even being close to the fence, I mean, it's just like, you're the only one in the world. It's like the whole Titanic, by the fence and just nothing underneath you. It's just incredible. So... definitely that was my favorite, but I mean, there was other places that were great too. We did go to the Hoover Dam. That experience was a little difficult for us, but we went to Cadillac Ranch and just so many places.
Yeah, we went to so many spots that are like very touristy. And are very famous, of course, in our first year, because we were, we kind of got sucked into vacation mode I'm not gonna lie. Check out that video right there. And I guess because we kind of did get sucked into vacation mode, it did actually have kind of an advantage in that we would get to a spot, and I remember this so clearly. We got to a little spot in Arizona, and we just said, like, let's just take a break. Like, we've been traveling like crazy, so let's just take like a week break and just stop somewhere. And we found a little park. They had a week spot for us. We're like, okay, and it was a reasonable price, and it was nothing fancy. It was just a spot just to stop and to just take a break. And it was a full hookup campground. It was, it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't super fancy. And we got there, and I think it was like we were having dinner that night. And I said to Sheri, I said, like, what's around here, I wonder, like, to go check out. And we finished dinner, and Sheri got out her phone, and she's just like, you would not believe this. And I'm like, what? And I'll let her tell a story. But yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, so we're really close to a lot of big things. So Tombstone was one of them. So we spent a day there. That was great. The Titan Missile Museum.
Yeah.
That wasn't far from there. So that was really interesting to go and see that.
Pima Air Station. And the huge museum they have there. Just like, if you love airplanes, this is a place for you because it has them all. That's the place to go.
Yeah.
I'll put a link in the comments below for that as well. It's if you've ever seen a plane and went, wow, that's cool, that is a place to go. Any aircraft person anywhere has to go to this place. It's impressive. It is absolutely impressive.
And it's got a lot of different things, like not just like the latest and greatest, but it's got like the evolution of flight. Lots of planes that were never mass produced but were invented. It's got your whole like fighter jet area.
Yeah. Well,
it has a whole space division, all NASA type stuff, and so. Yeah, go there, wear comfortable shoes, but go there.
Make a long day. So I guess I guess to go along with that first question was 19 states, 14,000 kilometers, was that too much? Was that too much for the first trip?
It was too much. And I think because you're so excited on that first year, you just want to do everything.
You just want to go.
And what we found was that, so our second year, what we ended up doing was staying at each campground for about a month. Mm-hmm. Because often you can stay at a campground for a month cheaper than you can stay there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so the first year, I'm not going to lie, we totally blew the budget. Like, we were way over budget.
Oh, yeah.
And, but I think it was worth it because of all the things we saw, and I wouldn't change it that way. But once we learned about staying in a place for longer and it being cheaper, that was really key to how we traveled after that in the second, third, and fourth year.
Yeah, and I think it was a big. I think what we learned from the first trip, and then we carried, of course, that stuff into the second trip, was learning that just because you're staying in a spot for a month doesn't mean that you're sitting in your trailer watching TV and this sucks and I don't get to see anything and blah blah. I don't think it was like that. I think we learned to enjoy an area because we had time to learn about what was around us, and that's where I kind of believe we evolved into the type of RVer that we ended up being. By that first year was like, what was the pros, what was the cons? Because I remember coming back the first summer back, and went to our summer park, and of course our friends are just bombarding us with questions, and having all those questions asked to us and providing real, honest answers. We were being honest with ourselves as well of what is the next trip going to be, what works best for us. And that's where we determined, what kind of RVers we are, and we went forward from there. So yeah, that was a big deal. I think that was a big step.
And Dave always says about be careful about getting sucked into vacation mode, because we really thought, we didn't think we were acting like we were on vacation, but we were totally acting like we were on vacation.
Yeah.
Like when you're working and, you go on vacation, you got to pack everything into the week that you're wherever you're going. And so we were trying to do that with everywhere we went.
Every stop.
And we're like, hold on a second here.
Yeah.
We're not on vacation. We're now living full time in our RV. And those two things are very different.
Yeah.
So
big time.
we changed the way we travel, and we moved into staying in one place for longer and longer, and then actually last year we stayed in the same park the whole time because we just fell in love with this park, and it has so many activities, and we kept so busy, but a lot of those activities were economically viable for us.
Maybe one day we'll tell you what park that is, just not today. So that's our big thing, and I just wanted to do this video to get the other side of the coin per se, and hopefully it answers some of your questions. So that's it. I'm gonna shut this thing down before we get too far into it. It's almost gonna turn into a live stream. We don't want to do that. So thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please send them to me right away. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.